When Hohem first asked me to take a look at their new action camera gimbal, I wondered to myself, why would I use a gimbal with an action camera when cameras like the GoPro Hero 7 Black and the DJI Osmo Action already have incredible image stabilization without one? Then I gave it some thought, and I realized there's a few good reasons for the iSteady Pro 2. Alright.
Give me everything, yeah. I need everything. I need all of everything.
What's going on, everybody? Tem here. Today we are taking a look at a brand new, unreleased as of the time of making this video, but I'm told it'll be available this mid-July. So in a few weeks, you guys can get your hands on it if it's something you're interested in. This is the Hohem iSteady Pro 2. And it's a gimbal for action cameras like the GoPro Hero 7 Black and the DJI Osmo Action. Now, I don't have my Sony RX02 anymore, but I was told that it will work with that. So if you own yourself a Sony RX0 or RX02, you might want to think about picking this bad boy up. You could throw it in here and you could vlog, and you got yourself a 1-inch sensor basically with awesome stabilization. So this right here is the iSteady Pro 2. We have the DJI Osmo Action mounted up in this bitch, and as you can see, it comes with a nice little screw off mini tripod, and I love that. You also have a thread right here on the side where you could mount something like a light. Maybe you're in a lower light situation and you're on your action camera, which they don't normally handle low light very well. It's super lightweight. It's incredibly comfortable to hold. It's a very good grip on this thing, and from my time shooting with it, I never had any issues with hand cramping or uncomfortableness. So if you're thinking like, man, I wouldn't mind a gimbal for my action camera, but I don't want to carry around no heavy piece of machinery while I'm trying to use my action camera, that's the whole point of getting an action camera. It's lightweight, it's easily portable. Well, so is this. And just like these two action cameras, this is not waterproof, but it's splash proof. So if it rains a little bit, it gets a little wet, you don't gotta worry about it. You're good to go. Also, something I like with this gimbal is that it has a tilted rear axis similar to my DJI Ronin S and my Zhiyun Weeble Lab over there, so it makes it easy to see the rear screen. You don't have anything blocking it, so big ups on that too. I'm a big fan of that. On the side over here, you have a charging port, but you also have a DC out, so you can charge your action camera while you're using it on the gimbal. Or if your phone is running low and you have a full battery on your action camera, oh great. If your phone is running low and you have a full battery on your gimbal, plug your phone right up, charge it up, and you're good to go. I like that. I like that it has a charging output. When you hold the trigger down, you automatically go into sport mode, which I like as well. There's sometimes where you have to get a quick movement going, or if you're vlogging, I think sport mode is a little bit better because it's almost like a normal selfie stick or a grip or something like that. This gimbal could do a 360 roll, which is cool. Surprisingly, it actually has really good battery life, so that is always a bonus. You don't want to deal with faulty, crappy batteries while you're out filming for the day. There's a net in here. By the way, just because Hohem sent me this gimbal for free, they did not pay me anything. This is not sponsored by them. All they said was, here's the gimbal, do a video on it please, let us know what you think. So I'm gonna be completely honest when it comes to this, because your guys' trust means a lot more to me than somebody sending me some free items. So if I don't like something, I'm gonna tell you I don't like it. If I do like something, well, then I'm gonna highly recommend it. Now, we just talked about some things that the iSteady Pro 2 is capable of doing and that I like about it, but those aren't the reasons that I would suggest picking up one of these, so let's get into that right now. For the first one, we're gonna keep it super obvious here. Better stabilization. If you're walking around with rock steady turned on your Osmo Action or hyper smooth turned on your GoPro, and then you also have it on top of a gimbal, that's a lot less work that the action camera has to do in order to stabilize that footage electronically. Next reason is you get a wider field of view. Rocksteady and Hypersmooth, they crop in a little bit, so when you actually turn them off and then you get stabilization from the gimbal only, you get a wider field of view. Next up is potentially better battery on your action camera, and the reason why I say that is because the action camera is using up more power and more juice to stabilize that footage. So if you turn off the EIS on the action camera, then it's less that the camera has to do in turn means it's taking up less juice out of the battery, so your battery should last a little longer when you're using a gimbal. Now let's get into some manual settings because it definitely improves that area. So 4K full manual, 24p, Rocksteady is turned off, and we're only using the stabilization. I fucked around and put cologne on before I left the house. Damn! Now with a gimbal this small and lightweight, depending on how fast you're walking or moving, you are gonna get a little bit of shake. It's just not gonna be this perfectly smooth image the whole way through. When you're vlogging, I don't really mind the little natural looking shake in the footage, you know, if you're walking and talking, it's not a big deal to me. I mean, if it's super shaky, then yeah, nobody wants to deal with that. If you see my videos on the Osmo Action before, you know that the Osmo Action and the GoPro Hero 7 Black both rely on their shutter speed, ISO, and a gyroscope readout. It's like a mixture of all these things to get that incredibly impressive image stabilization. Like if I turn the Osmo Action on full manual and I throw the ISO all the way down to 100 to get as clean an image as possible, and I put a fixed shutter at 1/50, it affects the image stabilization significantly, and it also affects the motion blur on the camera. The motion blur doesn't look right. Everything looks a little jittery. These cameras are supposed to have infinite focus, but when you record on full manual with a fixed shutter, especially if it's the proper shutter, if you're at 24 frames per second and you have your shutter at 1/50, if anybody that owns a GoPro or an Osmo Action, try this out if you don't believe me. Walk around and film yourself and you'll see that there is just way too much blurriness, and if you go and post and play it frame by frame, one frame is in focus, the next frame is out of focus. One frame is in focus, the next frame is... But when you take the Rocksteady completely off, you don't have that issue anymore. The only issue you have is the image stabilization if you're hand holding it or you're just on like a selfie stick or something. But now here is where the gimbal comes in again. You might not see it so much when looking directly at me, but pay attention to the mountains in the background, pay attention to the grass on the side. You're gonna see blurriness when we switch over and keep everything the same, full manual, but keep Rocksteady turned on. All right, so now we're handheld again and we're in full manual. We're at ISO 100 and 1/50 fixed shutter, but we still have Rocksteady turned on. And you'll see what I mean about the motion blur and the jitteriness. Again, look up in the corners, pay attention to the mountains, to the grass. It's just, I've noticed it before and I know I'll notice it again. Now you could set your action camera on full manual and put the cleanest settings that you could possibly get. Now you can go out and get yourself an ND filter for your action camera, expose properly. You're gonna get a super clean image, a significantly better clean image out of that. Not to mention that your field of view is gonna be wider because Rocksteady is off. So you're getting a bunch of bonuses here just by using a gimbal with your action camera. And if you care about clean image quality, trust me, you get better image quality when you're properly exposed and have the right shutter settings and you're on full manual. Which brings me to my next point. These two action cameras struggle in low light situations. The Osmo Action is better than the GoPro is, but they both still struggle. Not only image quality, if you have it on full auto, they still struggle with image stabilization, because now in order to get that image properly exposed, what it's doing is it's dropping that shutter way down. So now you're probably at like 1/20 or something like that, and you're getting a super blurry image, and that's the reason for it. All right, now we're on full auto and we're handheld. All right, now we're on full manual. ISO is at 1600 and our shutter is fixed at 1/50, and we do not have Rocksteady turned on, so we're going full gimbal image stabilization. And see, like in the dark areas, wherever you might have noticed some shake and some blur before, see if you notice it as much now. You're gonna get a little better low light out of your action camera when you use a gimbal and you're on full manual mode. And the last thing I want to talk about is HDR on both the GoPro and the DJI Osmo Action. When you're in HDR mode, their electronic image stabilization is disabled and you can't turn it on. Now you have HDR and you have image stabilization. So let's take a look at some of those HDR clips and you let me know if you could see a difference in the image quality. All right, so here is HDR, handheld, no gimbal, and obviously no image stabilization, because the only image stabilization you could use with it is a gimbal or a tripod and not move it around. But if you're hand holding this, if you got it on a little vlogging stick that isn't stabilize, you know, it's pretty much unusable in my opinion. So to me, if you like HDR mode and you like the image quality that comes out of it, you're just not happy that it doesn't have image stabilization, then that's a no-brainer. I mean, you got to pick that up. You see the difference when you're using it with a gimbal, you get actual stabilization, but without the gimbal, HDR, in my opinion, is pretty much unusable on an action camera. An action camera is mainly meant to be moved around. You're not going to really have this mounted on a tripod too often. So HDR, for me, it's a no-go without a gimbal. So is an action camera gimbal a must-have if you own a GoPro or an Osmo Action? No, it's not. I'd sound like a dummy if I sat here and told you that it's a must-have. The image stabilization is really great on these action cameras. But does it take your action camera to the next level? Yeah, I'd say it does. I feel confident in saying yes, it does. And on a lot of occasions, moving forward, I'm actually gonna use the iSteady Pro 2 when I'm out vlogging with my Osmo Action. Now I can get the highest possible quality out of my Osmo Action with low ISO, fixed shutter, and ND filters. I will leave a link in the description as soon as Hohem, as soon as they provide me with one, and as soon as this gimbal is available to you guys, I will provide a link in the description below. Let me know what you guys think. I personally have never owned an action camera gimbal before. This is my first one, but I do like my experience with this. I really enjoyed going out vlogging with it. It was easy to use, really simple to handle. The battery life is great. I can put everything on full manual mode now, which I love. I think if you take your action camera footage serious enough and you would love to improve the image quality as much as humanly possible, then yeah, I think it's a really, really good pickup. It's a good plastic build. It feels really good in hand. I mean, I could film with this all day long with my right hand. I'm southpaw. Let me know in the conversation below, have you ever used a gimbal with an action camera before? If not, are you thinking about it now? Please let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Do me a solid. If you did like this video, just click that thumbs up button for me. If you are not yet subscribed, please do so. I'd appreciate it highly. Right here is that Instagram. Follow me if you want to. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Salute.
Resume is a heavyweight, yeah. Put it on my back, give me everything, yeah. I need everything, I need